Welcome into the PHNX Suns pregame show brought to you by our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you know every time we are live. I'm Lindsey Smith, and I'm here with Espo. It's just you and I, Espo, holding it down for the pregame show. Gerald will be with us in the postgame show, but Saul Bookman, he's going to be away from the PHNX Suns show for a little, like a week almost, right?
He's been suspended for really shitty takes. That's what it comes down to.
HR came in and said, "Nah, guy, you got to go."
It wasn't even HR. I just pulled the card of being the head of content. I went, when you try to say CP3 is the best point guard in Suns history after only 18 months, sit on the bench. Actually, he's going to the Senior Bowl. He's helping cover the Cardinals, but I like to I like to say it's because he had shitty takes. So.
Yeah, he's not actually suspended. He's just on a different assignment, bringing you guys some cool content from that. So if you're interested, be sure to keep an eye out on our social media and, of course, go PHNX.com. But it's funny because you mentioned, obviously, the whole CP3 best point guard in Suns history debate. When you tweeted that out today, the same situation happened in your mentions. It was basically half of it was on Saul's side and the other half was on yours. So
my favorite part of
conversation for sure.
My favorite part of it was the people who obviously don't read and just were like, "How dare you say this? And Magic Johnson's the greatest."
Wait, did they think you were just talking about best point guard in history?
At least one of them did. Saul, no, I will not come see you and bring my playbook. I will not. Love you, man.
Saul, go away. You're not, no. Well, of course, tonight we do have a basketball game. I know there's a whole bunch of football happening, but we do have a Suns basketball game on our hands. And tonight it's going to be the Suns and the Spurs. And the Suns, of course, are looking to extend their win streak to 10 straight tonight, which would be their second double-digit streak of the season. And with a win tonight, they would also be the first team in the league to reach 40 wins. All, of course, doing so before their 10th loss of the season. So it would be a great night to get a Suns W, to check those accomplishments off of our sheet, whatever it is, bingo card, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, your bingo sheet. Everybody pull your bingo sheet out and cross it off if you have 40 wins before 10 losses. I guess I'm saying that it's going to be a win tonight. I think we all feel fairly confident when you look at a starting lineup from the San Antonio Spurs that reads like made-up names: Keldon Johnson, Doug McDermott, Drew Eubanks, Devin Vassell, and Trey Jones. Outside of McDermott, I had no clue most of these guys were on the roster. Let's not lie. So
it's the tale of the season. Injuries are... It's something we're talking about literally night in and night out, because for whatever reason this year, even not COVID related injuries, it seems like it's just been a little bit more, I don't know. It's just a lot more feeling like there's way more injuries this year than years past. But since we're on the topic, let's get into it and take a look at tonight's injury report. So I suppose you alluded to on the Spurs side, basically everyone, but the most notable, Dejounte Murray, Derek White, and Jakob Poeltl are all out tonight. Those are the big ones on the Spurs side. On the Suns side, Jae Crowder is out, Deandre Ayton is out, and Cam Payne is out. DeAndre was technically a game time decision, and Monty alluded at his pregame presser that it wasn't likely he was going to play, and he obviously is not going to play, but at least we're making progress, and it seems as though he's getting closer to returning. On the other hand, though, JaVale McGee is back. So we'll see JaVale back out there, probably in the starting lineup, and then Bismack moving over to that second unit and maybe a little less of Sticks.
Let's look. I didn't look at the Sun side. Nope, it is not JaVale McGee. He's listening. Monty's listening to the show. Bismack Biyombo gets the start at center tonight.
Oh,
so
wow.
It keeps JaVale in his more traditional role of coming off the bench.
It does make sense. It does make sense.
Yeah. I think that's the smart thing, because it keeps JaVale's minutes in kind of lower. He can do those 5-minute stints. Bismack can handle the load if you wind up needing something, else, you can bring in Sticks at his natural 5 position and see if he can do anything. But I like this rotation. It makes sense, and hopefully it rekindles JaVale's ability to come off the bench and have those really good 5-6 minute spurts.
Yeah, I kind of figured JaVale would just move right back into that starting lineup, but it does add a little bit of consistency and just stability to that second unit, because it's already getting mixed up quite a bit as it is. So putting JaVale back in there, since you're not having Campaign, and then Cam Johnson is still in the starting lineup. So he adds a little bit of stability and a more familiar face into that second unit. So honestly, it does make a lot of sense. So
yeah, and it gives you some scoring ability. JaVale can go on bursts, which should help that second unit, which they haven't. They've struggled at times with that. But look, I don't like to overlook any opponent, but let's be honest. This is a Spurs team that isn't very good. They have 19 wins on the season, and then this is the second unit of the not so very good Spurs. So I'm not overly worried.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're 19-31 on the season, but at the same time, they are coming off of a win over the Chicago Bulls Friday night, which the Bulls aren't a cakewalk either. And they're obviously a well-coached, albeit maybe young team, but they're very hungry. So you can't take tonight off if you're the Phoenix Suns, but you're absolutely right. It should 100%. The outcome should be a Suns W, and hopefully so, because if the Suns do get a win, in addition to all the things I listed off earlier in the show, it'll also clinch the coaching spot for the Suns staff at the All-Star game, which I know has been a really big point of emphasis for Chris Paul and Devin Booker and the team as a whole, wanting to get their coaching staff out there and represented in the All-Star game as the coaching staff. So hopefully they can get that W, and we can just, again, check that one off our bingo cards as well.
I have bingo now. That was my 4th in a row there. So
Hey-o.
Let's get it done tonight.
Did you use the free center spot?
I did. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Suns have a dearth of centers, so it is kind of a free spot. Anybody can go in there and take care of it. So yeah, I got my free spot, and I got the other 4 in a row. So I will claim my prize, and I guess that's Saul not being on today. So
yeah,
he's roasting me in the chat, but I refuse
He's
to
still
read
bringing it in the chat. Blaze Megatron says we should obviously win this game, but are we due for a loss against a bad team yet? I don't think so.
Great
Not
teams
yet.
rarely do that. And,
Yeah.
and if it's going to happen, it would be something like tonight, where you're not at full strength either. So, I never say never. Saul, I didn't say anyone can play center. I said they have 3 guys that can play center on the roster right now in DA, JaVale, and Bismarck. I don't count Jalen as being able to play much of anything, but he can play there too. That was the comment. All right. Jeez, I don't know why I'm even reading his comments. I should switch off.
I know. Don't let him in your head, Espo. Don't let him in your head.
They're already there. Damn it. So.
Oh my gosh. I did think it was kind of cool. I love, one of the things that I really enjoy when the Spurs come to town, or when the Suns are in San Antonio, is popping into Greg Popovich's pregame presser, because without a doubt, no matter how many times these two teams play each other, because this question has been asked in every single press conference, is just the respect factor between Monty Williams and Coach Pop. And it's always such a great listen just to hear the way that Pop talks about Monty. And one of the things he was talking about was the All-Star nod. And he is thrilled for Monty to be in the position to potentially be the coach out there this year. But he also was asked about Devin and the lack of the nod for a starting spot on the All-Star teams. And he said, listen, like, it's kind of one of those things, like, you can't, it probably bothers these players when they don't get that nod. But at the end of the day, he kind of joked as his presser ended, as he was walking off. He was like, just tell Devin to tell him, hey, I got the gold. We're good. I got the gold. And I loved that little subtle, flex there from Pop for Devin, because he probably realizes that Devin does deserve a little bit more respect than what he does get, but he also understands it's just kind of the nature of the business and it happens sometimes.
Well, let's be fair too. That was a bit of a humble brag by Pop too, because
Totally.
Pop was the coach, so he said, "I got that too." If you guys didn't remember, but he has a great deal of respect for Devin Booker, not just because of the Olympics, but overall, just how much respect he has for this game, and he looks at Devin, and he's sees how great of a player he is, and I know he and Monty talk, at times, and I'm sure that Devin is a subject that they've discussed as well. So it's no shock to me that Pop even would be like, you know what, yeah, this guy deserves it. But if anybody understands about being good but being disrespected, it's probably Greg Popovich, because those Spurs teams never quite got the due they deserved, despite how great they were over numbers of years.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So if anybody would be able to give some of the people on the Suns, in the Suns organization, some advice, it would probably be Pop. So it's good to have him as a mentor to the leader of this team to kind of help pass down some of that knowledge that they've been sharing throughout the years.
Yeah. So Manuel says, exactly, like if someone tries to flex on Lindsey, she just says, "Hey, I got a book." Is it the book or is it the 2 Emmys, or just kind of vacillate between the two?
I mean, yeah, I guess it just kind of depends on the person, right? Like if there's a person who's being mean to me and I have to flex on them, if they understand like what an Emmy would be, then I would use that. But if they're just like going based off of like, cool things, then the book for sure.
You're like, if they're an idiot, I'll mention the book. They don't know what an Emmy is.
Exactly. Well, you know what I mean? Like some people are like, well, unless it's like a if you're not in like the video space or production space, an Emmy might not really mean that much to you.
That's true.
That's like I have family members who are like, "Oh, cool, an Emmy." And I'm just like, "Oh, thanks."
I have a share.
They don't get it. It's not that they aren't excited or anything. Look, anyway,
you can have your Emmys, you can have your book. I got a Share Care award, and that's all that matters to me. So
there, exactly.
It's the dumbest flex ever.
We're winning in life, Espo. We really, truly are. All right, let's get back to tonight's game. Tell us what our friends over at the DraftKings Sportsbook app think about tonight's matchup between the Suns and the Spurs.
They think the Suns are going to kick the Spurs' ass, is what the DraftKings Sportsbook app thinks. It's 13 here. I think it actually might be up to 13.5 since the graphic was made. This is a line that is quite big. So
that's I mean, it's good to see that our friends over at DraftKings also have a lot of faith in the Phoenix Suns tonight to get that 40th win of the season, clinch that all-star coaching spot. What do you think, Espo? What did you pick for tonight's predictions?
I think it's a Suns win. I don't think it's going to be as big of a number as the spread. I would probably take the under. I say 9. It just feels like, that's where they kind of hover around. I mean, this may be another play with your food game where through 3 quarters, it's way too close. They, spread it out in the fourth, get it into double digits. It kind of slides back a little bit at the end. I say 9. So
yeah, I got Suns by 12. I didn't know what the line was when we sent in our picks, but I still feel pretty good about my selection. 13.5 is kind of a lot. It's not that I don't think the Suns could. It's just that over the course of the season, like you said, it kind of feels like they've just been playing with their food a little bit and not necessarily putting games away as early as we would all hope. However, I would love to be proven wrong tonight. Get Chris Paul a little bit fewer minutes out there so that the guy can get a little bit of a break. I know Friday night he didn't play as much, but still he's been high 30s, 40s quite a bit this season. And it's becoming a little bit of a concern for me. Like I'm not full on like panic button by any means, but it is something that I've been keeping a little bit more of an eye on. And I just kind of hope that we can reel that in just a little bit.
Yeah. Look, I would love a 30-point win tonight. That'd be fantastic. Just end this early. And then, just get to it, get these guys on the bench, let them rest and enjoy the 40th win of the season. But the chat, the Cove crazies badly want to know why Shane said 79,000.
Yeah, well, hold on before you tell us, Shane. Some of the guesses in the chat so far. Thunderstunk says cows in Texas, and then Saul says churros in San Antonio.
That's the amount of total feet the Riverwalk is.
Hey, that's a good one.
Goodbye.
All right.
Goodbye.
I thought it was the number of pounds Chuck adds every time he goes there and eats the churros.
I still call BS on the fact that he only had a churro for the first time in his life this year. Like,
I know
BS.
you're gonna die on that hill.
I'm gonna die on this hill. Like, there's no chance in hell that this is the first. Like, at this point in time in his life, it's the first time he's ever looked at a churro and was like, "Yeah, I'll give that a shot."
Lindsay, if I get him on the show, will you confront him about this?
Absolutely.
All right, then I'm making it my goal, as if I didn't already want Chuck on this show, but now I'm making it seriously my goal to get Chuck here just so you can confront him about churros.
I mean, let's do it. I got it.
He'd have fun with that, I'm sure.
He probably would. Yeah, he's a pretty good dude, that's for sure. Everyone in the chat talking about, it's been too long since I had a churro. Churros are amazing down here. Germ P, I think, tuning in from San Antonio. So hi, welcome. Said that the churros are amazing down in San Antonio, no cap. Hello, said I could go for a churro. Like, churros are legit one of the top desserts in my book. I feel like you can't go wrong with a churro most of the time.
Hello with the churro and ice cream, which is a great call.
Yes,
that is a fantastic mixture. Are the churros that much better in San Antonio than here, though? I can't imagine. How can you make a tube of dough with cinnamon sugar on it any better than it is? I can't imagine there's some secret San Antonio recipe that I've just been missing out on.
I think the key for churros is you got to get them fresh. So, like, if they've been sitting in a box or in a case for a little while, they're not going to be nearly as good as if you just watch them come out of the machine and sprinkled with the cinnamon and sugar. That's when you know you're going to have like when you have to wait for them to cool off to eat them, because if not, they'll burn your mouth. That's where you got to get your churros. Whoever makes them fresh.
I've always wanted to do with a churro is do the Twinkie thing and get one with cream that's injected in the middle.
Yeah,
I'd imagine that tastes fantastic.
Yeah, you can get a whole bunch of different things put inside of your churro. And then there's also different dipping sauces and stuff. I just like mine OG, just straight up cinnamon and sugar. I don't really love the added stuff, but you can definitely do all of that.
Look, I want to try all varieties, but I'm sure the original is the best. Saul, the Disney churros for the win. Corporate shill. He wants the Disney churros.
They may be good, but they're expensive.
Give me a random stand somewhere. I want, these are base level. I don't need a $15 churro. I just need the dough and the cinnamon and the sugar.
The best churros that I've had was in Rocky Point, and it was a food cart, like a smaller cart, and it was called Jurassic Park.
Oh, that's next level. I need a shirt with Jurassic Park on it. That is so great.
It was so great. I love the name, the pun, the marketing, and of course the churros were super bomb. And those churros, surprisingly, even the next morning, I was like, I'm gonna eat another churro because we got leftovers. Why not? And they were still actually really good.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, street food, in a cart, surprisingly good. Like tacos, churros. Like, I mean, if hot dogs, even sometimes in New York, like there's something to be said for streetcar food. You don't really get that here in Phoenix, though.
A little bit. You got to go to an event in order to kind of get it. They're not just out constantly. Like, you have to go find them, I feel like.
More of a food truck city than a cart city.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I love that we've just gone on hell with this game. Let's just talk churros the rest of the night. I
mean, we're playing the Spurs, and San Antonio is apparently known for really good churros, so at least it's somewhat on brand. But
Mark, if you were in Arizona, I will buy you a churro. It is a shame that you have never had a churro. It tastes like heaven, to answer your question.
It does. So Jacob, one of our fellow coworkers in the chat, said Presidio has churros, and I've had Presidio a lot, and they have really bomb food, but I never had their churros, so I'm gonna have to go hit it up. If you guys are looking for a really great Mexican restaurant, Presidio is bomb. It's on the corner of or close to the corner of 7th Ave and Thomas. It's super good. Yeah. So, but apparently Jacob says they have really good churros. So check those out.
Is that where we went? No, that's not where we went.
Yeah, that's where I sent you guys. Yeah.
Yes, that was good when the whole crew went out there. That was quality. I recommend it. That you drive in and you go, this is a little sketch when you look at the strip mall, and then you walk in, you go, the food makes up for whatever outside looks like.
It's not even that sketch, Espo. It's really not.
No, it just looked like it because like it was part of it was boarded up, and then I realized, oh, okay, they're just doing construction.
It's right next to a Long Wong's too, and then there's some Thai food in there. I don't know if you guys ever need food recommendations in like the central downtown midtown area. I got you. Okay.
Have we not just made Lindsey recommends food an online show?
We're gonna have to figure it out. Okay, so let's kind of go back a little bit to some basketball.
Nah, let's just talk churros. I don't want to talk about
churros and more food. You can't go wrong with them. Who do you have for the first field goal for tonight's game?
First my heart says to roll with the Bismarck Beyond boys and say it's Bismarck, but I feel like Devin's gonna come out firing tonight.
I feel like Devin is a really good choice there. I think I would put my money on. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Devin. Devin's a solid one tonight. Right. Yeah, I think Devin is the place to go. You guys in the chat, let us know. As always, let us know if you place any bets tonight. And then if you join us post game, let us know if you win because we want to celebrate with you because it's always fun when someone hits big on a bet, even if it's just $5. Like Shane is so in to sports betting, and every time we get on or we see each other in person, it's always like, hey, how your gambles? You winning anything recently? And then he always lets me know. Usually he's a winner. Every once in a while.
The chat saying Cam Johnson is
Cam Johnson is a good one.
I like Cam. I'm gonna stick with Book, but I'm not hating on you if you're betting Cam. So
yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, even Mikal. That's the hard part. Is it literally could be anyone. The only person that I would not put my money on is Chris Paul.
Nah, yeah, it's pretty safe, which means Chris Paul will hit the first.
I know,
field goal
right?
tonight because we're saying it.
Go figure.
You know who won't? Any of the Spurs starters because they're all second string guys.
Blessings to the Spurs and all their injuries.
R.I.P. all of the Spurs who aren't playing tonight.
No,
Shane, not a winner today, which I'm guessing means he did not bet on the Bengals, is what he's saying.
Yikes! So you should have listened to Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson's a big Bengals fan, right?
Yeah, and then he got that's true. He got a shout out from one Chad Ochocinco. I think he's Chad Johnson again, but Cam Johnson said how much he loved Chad Johnson. It got out there on Twitter, and then Ochocinco said that he's a big Cam Johnson fan. So somebody let Cam know. So I hope somebody pregame let Cam know that because he's not on Twitter. So
that's true. He wouldn't have been able to see that, but I'm sure somebody saw it and sent it to him. And that was probably really cool. Do you have any stories, Espo? I know just real quick, we're getting close to tip off, but have you ever heard of any stories of players like meeting other athletes or just more popular players and kind of having a little bit of that fan giddiness or that moment?
I remember Booker when I went with him to the Toronto All-Star game, that first year where he was in that 3-point contest, and I think he got in the Rising Stars because of an injury. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up, but I remember him talking about how in awe he was that he was going to be at Kobe's final All-Star game and part of that weekend. And you got to keep in mind he's 18, maybe 19. I think he was 19 at that point. I had just turned 19 late that October, so he's a young kid. He's out there, and he gets to be around all this and some of the biggest names in the game, and especially a guy like Kobe that he looked up to. So I'll never forget that. And then obviously we all know about the later that year or later, a couple months later, in Kobe's final game in Phoenix and the Be Legendary thing and their whole meeting after. But that was one of my favorite Book memories because you could tell how much he loved the game and how much it legitimately meant to him to be there in that moment. I told this story too, but after he lost, I think he lost in the finals of that, he apologized to the fans of Phoenix saying, "I'm sorry, I should have won that. I'll be back. I'll do it." And like that stuck with me too, because most guys are like, oh, whatever, it was fun, great. And he's like legit upset with himself that he didn't win. So
I always love those moments. One recently that I saw, Matisse Thybulle was talking about, I don't even remember what it was, but he was explaining that, when he first got into the league, he met somebody who was probably like a LeBron James type of player. And they were like, this person who I grew up watching knows my name. Like I'm on their radar. Yeah. I love when players come out and tell us those stories because I just feel like it humanizes them a little bit more. Like when you see somebody on TV so often, it's easy to kind of forget that they feel the exact same ways that we do when we meet somebody who is legendary or that we watched on TV growing up or something of that sort. So I always love those stories because it's just like, okay, it makes you feel a little bit better when you meet somebody and have like a fan moment. Because they did it too, and they're celebrities. So
I told you my Barkley moment, right, where I met him and I pulled out. I had a ticket stub I went to the game where he scored his 20,000th point. I was like 11, 12, and I kept it. And so I knew he was coming out to broadcast a TNT game. He was going to be doing color that night. It was like my second year with the team. So I had the ticket stub in my jacket pocket, and one of the people who knew him from back in the day introduced me, and I go, I know this is completely unprofessional, but would you sign this? And I kind of explained it. He goes, man, that's not unprofessional. I'm more than happy to do that for you. Like, I'm glad you asked. And that to me still to this day blows my mind, because you could have told me to F off. I probably could have gotten in trouble for doing it, but he was super cool about it because he understood the impact he had on people in Phoenix.
Yeah. And the fact that you kept something from that long ago, and kept it in good condition enough for it to be signed, because a ticket, you know what I mean? Like if you don't keep that safe, it could definitely deteriorate. So that's a really cool story. I like that a lot.
It hangs on my wall with a picture of him, and Tom Chambers behind the bar at Marley's. So
nice.
one of my beloved mementos. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we are just about ready for the Suns and the Spurs to tip off. So enjoy the game, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to our pregame show. As always, we will be right back here after the game for some post-game action, hopefully hanging out in the VIP lounge and celebrating the coaching staff clinching the all-star spot for coaches. Be sure to pencil us in for your evening festivities. Until then, you can follow us on Twitter, the show at PHNX_Suns, myself at Lindsey Smith AZ, and Espo at Espo. Espo, send us home.
Germ P, I'd love to see Gorn back, but not via trade, via buyout. Ahoy, hoy.